Thank you, members of the media. Please do kindly clear the main stage area as we get set to begin the event. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, do kindly remain standing in honor of the national anthem of Malaysia, the Negaraku. Thank you, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, do kindly be seated. gentlemen. What an explosion of culture and amalgamation of the various communities and ethnicities that live side by side in harmony here in Malaysia. What an amalgamation of the diversity that we have here in Malaysia embodied in one opening performance. We hope you enjoy that, ladies and gentlemen, and a heartfelt appreciation to the performance from Amir Percussion for the outstanding presentation of culture. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning. Salam sejahtera and salam Malaysia Madani. Yang amat berhormat Datuk Seri Anwar bin Ibrahim, Prime Minister of Malaysia. Yang amat berhormat Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid bin Hamidi, Deputy Prime Minister of Malaysia. Yang berhormat Tuan Stephen Seri, Minister of Human Resource. Yang berhormat Cabinet Ministers in attendance. Yang berbahagia Heads of Services, High Excellencies and delegacies from the various countries in attendance. Yang berhormat Datuk Seri Abdul Rahman bin Haji Muhammad, Deputy Minister of Human Resource. Yang berhormat Deputy Ministers. Yang berbahagia Secretary Generals in attendance. Yang berbahagia Datuk Seri Dr. Muhammad Azman bin Aziz Muhammad, President of ISA, Heads of Governments and Senior Government Officials, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we bid you a warm welcome. Thank you for joining us here today at the World Social Security Forum, WSSF 2025.
This year we underline the theme Shaping Social Security for a World in Transition. I'm Terence Das and I'll be your host for the event today. And on behalf of the Social Security Organization of Malaysia, Keselamatan, and the Employees Provident Fund, EPF, supported by the Implementation Coordination Unit of the Prime Minister's Department in Malaysia, ICJPM, and the Retirement Fund Incorporated of Malaysia, it is a privilege to welcome all of you to the World Social Security Forum 2025 here in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, taking place for the very first time in Southeast Asia. 2,000 participants from all over the globe are gathered here today, from near and far, and over 130 countries. Selamat datang. Welcome to the beautiful, beautiful Malaysia. Malaysia, truly Asia. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is a blessing that we have been graced with the chance and opportunity to gather here at this momentous ceremony. So before we proceed with our program, let us seek further blessings from the Almighty. We'll begin with a prayer or dua, and I would like to invite Mr. Muhammad Amrizak bin Rusli to kindly lead us in the recitation of the dua. We'd also like to invite everyone to take a moment to pray and all reflect in your own faith and tradition.
Assalamu alaikum and good morning everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished delegates and their colleagues, as we open this important gathering, let us take a moment of reflection. To friends who come from other faiths and traditions, we invite you to join us in your own way as we raise our prayer in the manner of our faith. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, all praise be to Allah. Peace and blessings be upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his family and companions. O Allah, the most mercy and wisdom, we stand before you in humility, gratitude and hope. We thank you for gathering us here in Kuala Lumpur from every corner of the world, united by a noble purpose, in conjunction with the World Social Security Forum, a gathering of compassion, a fountain of justice, and a light of guidance for all people. Bless this assembly, O Allah, inspire our leaders, experts, and delegates, with wisdom that heals, with vision that uplifts, and with a unity that endures across every nation and every generation. Let this gathering be a seed of solidarity, a bridge of cooperation, and a shield for the dignity of every human being. O Allah, and when the World Social Security Forum in Kuala Lumpur concludes, we pray that its spirit lives on, that the neglected may find care, that the vulnerable may find protection, that the forgotten may find recognition, and that every human soul may live with dignity, security, and hope. Accept our efforts, purify our intentions, and crown our work with success, for you alone are the all-powerful and the all-wise.
ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Thank you, Mr. Muhammad, for leading us in the recitation of the Dua. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as we move on with our program this morning, I'd like to welcome someone who needs no introduction in the foray of fronting social security, both in Malaysia and at the international level, contributing significantly to strengthening social protection systems and promoting inclusive development across the nations. His leadership and vision continue to inspire meaningful dialogue and collaboration within the global social security community. It is indeed a great honor and privilege to invite to the stage Yang Berbahagia Datuk Seri Dr. Muhammad Azman bin Aziz Muhammad, President of the Visa, to deliver his welcoming address.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Yang amat berhormat Datuk Seri Anwar bin Ibrahim, Prime Minister of Malaysia. Yang amat berhormat Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid bin Hamidi, Deputy Prime Minister of Malaysia.
Yang berhormat Tuan Stephen Sim Chi Kiong, Minister of Human Resources of Malaysia. Yang berhormat Datuk Seri Abdul Rahman bin Haji Muhammad, Deputy Prime Minister, Deputy Minister of Human Resources of Malaysia, Honourable Ministers from Malaysia and ISA member countries, Excellencies, distinguished guests, social security practitioners, colleagues, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, bonjour, buenos dias, guten morgen, zhao shang hao, selamat pagi, assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Gendang bergema menyambut tetamu, semangat membara di Kuala Lumpur. Di forum bersatu, saling bertukar ilmu, membina perlindungan yang adil dan luhur. What I've shared is a pantun, a traditional Malaysian poem translated here for our international friends. Drum resounds welcoming the guests. Kuala Lumpur shines with spirit anew. United in forum to share our best, building protection, righteous and true. The pantun reflects the spirit of today's gathering. Malaysia, extending their warm hospitality and a shared resolve to build social protection that is just and adequate. Yang Amat Berhormat, Honourable Ministers, respected guests, I stand before you today not only as the President of International Social Security Association, but also as a homegrown Malaysia from Bentong, Pahang, a little town in the east coast of Peninsular Malaysia. To be here in Kuala Lumpur, hosting the World Social Security Forum 2025 is a moment that fills me with profound pride. For 1 week, Kuala Lumpur became the capital of social security. On behalf of Malaysia, selamat datang. Today, we welcome more than 2,000 participants, representing 253 institutions from 133 countries under one roof for the world's premier gathering on social security. But let us be clear, this is more than policies or systems. It is about people and the promise that when life tests us through age, illness, accident, or uncertainty, none of us will stand alone. On the horizon lies another milestone, the ISA Centennial. In less than 2 years, we will mark 100 years of global solidarity in social security, a history honoring the legacy built over generations, while looking ahead to the new frontiers we must cross together. Distinguished guests, over the past triennium, ISA has moved forward with conviction. We are the world reference point for social security, a platform that gives voice to institutions, builds capacity, and bridges knowledge across every corner of the globe. Our membership has grown to approximately 338 institutions in 164 countries. We have built a new technical guidelines from occupational safety and health to long-term care, and also cataloged 606 new good practices, bringing our repository to 1,922. Thousands of professionals have engaged through webinars, courses, and our academies. These numbers are not just metrics. They represent real progress, rippling out to touch the life of every worker, every child, every older person, gaining protection. Through it all, our compass has remained steady, focused not only on institutions, but on individuals. And in this mission, the ILO has stood as a special partner for ISA, working with us to advance the cause of social protection worldwide. Along this, our voice has also echoed in multilateral fora such as the OECD, ASEAN, BRICS, and the G20. In each of these spaces, we have affirmed a simple truth. Social security is not a luxury, but a foundation of human resilience and social justice. It is a human right. Members of the hall, the COVID-19 pandemic was one of the greatest tests in living memory. It shows us how fragile lives can be. It also revealed the power of social security to cushion the fall, protect dignity, and sustain economies in the darkest time. Within this inflection point, countries expanded unemployment benefits, rolled out emergency cash assistance, and introduced wage subsidy scheme to preserve jobs. The lesson is clear. Social protection cannot stand still. It must anticipate and evolve. Because a safety net that only works after the fall is not a net. It is a failure. Therefore, true protection must be in place before crisis strikes, strong enough to catch and bounce us back. The global health pandemic was not the first crisis and surely not the last. What matters is that across the globe, anticipation is already at work and countries are adapting. In Oman, far-reaching reforms are unifying fragmented schemes into a single comprehensive system. In India, the e-Shram portal has registered more than 300 million informal workers. In Europe, pension systems are being redesigned through multi-pillar models and higher retirement age to meet the challenge of aging population. In Africa, investment in stronger social security institutions is facilitating the extension of coverage, enhancing service quality, and expanding resilience. In the Americas, social security institutions excel in communication, service delivery, and the use of artificial intelligence, enhancing sustainability, coverage, and trust. Here in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia is also moving forward with conviction. Under the leadership of the Prime Minister and through the commitment of the Minister of Human Resources, Suma, gig workers are now being recognized in the legal and policy frameworks. Even in the most complex corners of Malaysia economies, social security can evolve. This is not just a national achievement, instead a gold standard for every nation in hand of dignity and protection to platform economy workers. It is also a powerful reminder that at times government must step in to transform challenges into opportunities for each people. Every continent is moving, every country is searching. But the question is whether we can move together and fast enough to meet the world in transition. However, in reality, billions still remain unprotected. The ILO latest World Social Security Protection Report shows that 3.8 billion people still lack any form of social protection, while more than half of the world population is now covered by at least one social protection benefit. Progress is moving slowly, and at this rate, it will take another 48 years until 2073 to reach universal coverage. The divide is stark. High-income countries are approaching universal coverage at nearly 86%, but in low-income countries, coverage remains below 10% and has barely shifted in almost a decade. In countries most vulnerable to climate change, only 25% of the population is covered. As this gap persists, a broader demographic shift is unfolding. The aging population. By 2030, 1 in 6 people in the world will be over the age of 60. This shift is both a testament to human advancement and a warning of the strains it will place on healthcare, old age, income, security, and above all, pension system. This is why countries across the globe are redesigning their pension models. We must learn from this lesson and chart our own path toward a system that is universal, dignified, and intergenerational. A system where pensions are poised for a life with dignity. Brothers and sisters in social security, we convene at a time when the world is being tested in profound ways. Climate change, pandemics, technological disruption, demographic transition, geopolitical instability, and widening inequality. These are not abstract trends. They are real forces, reshaping lives, economies, and societies in ways that test the limit of our system. This prompts an urgent call for social security. The challenge before us, whether we as leaders, institutions, and communities can build systems that are inclusive, adaptable, and sustainable in the face of 21st century realities. Dear ISA family, This is what makes the World Social Security Forum 2025 so important. Over the coming days, our daunting task is to chart the course of global social security for the years ahead. We will debate, question, and challenge. We will learn from the innovations of others and share our own. And above all, we will find common ground because the task before us is greater than any institution or country. I expect that this forum will generate a renewed commitment to protect those still left behind, anticipate risks not yet visible, and more importantly, act with urgency. For every day we wait, more lives fall through the cracks, and a huge fraction of the 2 billion people are still exposed to lost livelihoods, shrinking incomes, and fragile health. As the president of ISA, I fervently hope this forum can be remembered as the moment we shifted from progress to transformation, from incremental steps to bold leaps. So let Kuala Lumpur be the heart where a covenant to strengthen social security for a world in transition. A covenant that says no worker should stand unprotected, no elder live without dignity, and no child should grow without hope. The world is waiting and the time is now. Thank you. Merci beaucoup. Muchas gracias. Dankeschön. Sheshe. Terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Yang Berbahagia Datuk Seri Dr. Muhammad Azman bin Aziz Muhammad, President of ISA. May our leadership, sir, and commitment to advancing social security at both the national and international levels continue to guide and encourage us all. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, to provide some context of how we do things here in Malaysia under the leadership of Yang Berhormat, the Minister of Human Resource, we continue to play a vital role in shaping policies that safeguard the welfare of workers. We also promote inclusive labor practices and strengthen Malaysia's human capital development in alignment with global standards. The Minister's dedication and vision have been instrumental in advancing social protection, employment opportunities, and workforce sustainability for the benefit of our nation and beyond. Today, we're truly honored to have Yang Berhormat join us in sharing some of his insights and perspectives, which will no doubt provide valuable guidance and inspiration. Ladies and gentlemen, please kindly welcome to the stage Yang Berhormat Tuan Stephen Sim Chi Keong, Minister of Human Resource Malaysia.
Yang amat berhormat Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, Prime Minister of Malaysia. Yang amat berhormat Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid bin Hamidi, Deputy Prime Minister of Malaysia. Yang berhormat my fellow colleagues in the Cabinet, heads of services, excellencies, delegations from various countries. Yang berhormat Datuk Seri Abdul Rahman bin Abdul Muhammad, Deputy Minister of Human Resources, Secretary Generals, berbahagia Datuk Seri Dr. Muhammad Azman bin Aziz Muhammad, President of ISA, heads of governments, senior government officials, ladies and gentlemen, saudara-saudari yang saya kasihi sekalian. Salam sejahtera, salam Malaysia Madani dan salam pekerja kesemua bangsa. Biar bekerja sebelum lelah, biar mengaji sebelum ujian, biar berkubu sebelum kalah, biar berpayung sebelum hujan. My colleague Dr. Azman has explained the beauty of Malay poetry. It represents the aspirations and anxieties, the wisdom and the wit of hardworking traditional workers in Malaysia, the fishermen, the farmers, the tukang, craftsmen, ordinary Malaysians. I took the liberty to translate that Malay poetry to English so that our foreign guests can also appreciate the essence, the beauty of our Malay language. Work dies frank before it's old. Seek wisdom as the norm. Raise thy fort before thy foe. Take thy shelter before the storm. 17 August 2023, 2 years ago, it was an unassuming afternoon. 2 gig workers were traveling on the highway near Elmina Township in Shah Alam, a few kilometers away from Kuala Lumpur. It was a typical scene on our streets. Kuala Lumpur, Shah Alam, maybe even New York, Beijing, Japan. But for the fateful tragedy that would have taken place that day, a plane out of nowhere crashed on the side of the highway where our 2 gig workers happened to pass by. There was no survival, not the passengers in that plane, nor our 2 gig workers. One driver, only 32 years old, I went to his funeral. He had just renewed his Perkeso coverage 2 months before. While his death was tragic, his family now received a monthly pension of almost 2,000 ringgit from Perkeso because of the protection. Though their grief remains, their survival is assured after the demise of a breadwinner in the family. The other driver, aged 53, with 2 school-going children, was once a Perkeso contributor. But unfortunately for some reason, he had discontinued his coverage. His family was left without protection, forced to face not only the pain of the sudden loss of a loved one, but also the heavy weight of financial uncertainty. Same accident, same place, same time, 2 workers from the same gig sector, but 2 utterly divergent fate because of one crucial difference: social security protection. My dear friends, I come from a working class family. My father spent his whole life working in a manufacturing factory up north in Penang, right up to his retirement. My maternal grandfather, who left us just 3 months ago this year, he worked as a tukang, a carpenter. Every morning when he was young, he would ride his trusty old, what we call here in Malaysia, the China black bicycle, Feng Huang Pai, Phoenix brand, Seri, the old bicycle, to the workshop. His small frame, carrying on his shoulder heavy timber, just as how he carried the responsibility of raising a very large family. My paternal grandfather, I call him Akong, he was a lorry driver. And I still remember that big red body truck with a wooden cargo deck covered in green canvas. He drove that lorry faithfully until the very last day of his life. I was just a child, but I cannot forget the moment when his boss, the company owner, came on the morning that my grandfather passed away. He asked my grandmother, why didn't my grandfather report to work that day? My grandmother, in tears, pointed to the inside where her husband lay lifeless on the bed. When I think of this man, my father, my 2 grandfathers, I feel with pride. They were hardworking, resilient, men of honor. But I cannot help to ask, what kind of protection, social security protection, did they have in their lifetime? My father retired without employment insurance to cushion him had he lost his job. My grandfather, the carpenter, had no occupational safety and health protection, though he worked every day in hazardous environment carrying timber larger than his own body. And my paternal grandfather, my Akong, the lorry driver, he was not even considered an employee then under the law, so he had no social security protection at all. These are not just my family stories. These are stories of countless Malaysian families in the past. They are the backbone of our nation, and yet too often left unprotected. And that is why we fight today, to ensure that no worker, no matter how humble their job, is invisible. That their labor, their dignity, their very lives are valued and defended. This is the essence of Madani, envisioned by Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim
a society that values every person, not for their utility alone, but for their humanity. My dear friends, today Malaysia has come a long way. More than 10 million workers are now covered under Perkeso Employment Injury and Invalidity Insurance. This represents a whopping 63% increase since 10 years ago. I think a round of applause for Perkeso is due. And another 1 million self-employed workers are now protected against workplace injury. But we are not only protecting more workers, we are also giving each of them more protection. In the last 10 years, the average payout to insured person has risen about 12%, from 5,200 ringgit in 2015 to 5,800 ringgit today. Last year, the government amended the law to improve benefit payouts by a further 20%. And one might imagine that the increased benefits would create moral hazard of opportunistic claims. Yet, thanks to good governance within Perkeso, from strong campaigns on occupational safety to the use of AI in claims processes, the share of insured person making claims has remained steady at around 8%. In other words, in the last 10 years, we achieved broader inclusion, stronger protection, but without spikes in accident or claim severity. In fact, 2 years ago, we took another historic step. For the first time in Malaysia, we recognize the unseen labor of homemakers, mothers who built this nation quietly from within the home, mothers who work without leave, without rest, yet form the core of our care economy. Last year alone, more than 500,000 homemakers were protected under the Lindung Kasih scheme. Their love, their sacrifice is now accorded the dignity of protection. Once again, this is the Madani society we are building. One where no worker, no caregiver, no citizens who labor in love and sacrifice is left unrecognized and unprotected. And just a month ago, under the leadership of Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, on the eve of our National Day, we made history again. Parliament passed a landmark gig workers law extending compulsory and enhanced social security to millions of gig workers in Malaysia. These are the riders and drivers who keep our cities running, who deliver our meals and our parcels, who serve us every day, often at great personal risk. For the first time now here in Malaysia, their labor is recognized and their dignity protected. Remember the plane crash story at the beginning of my speech. One rider was protected, the other was not, because the old system depended on voluntary enrollment. But with this new gig workers law, we have closed the gap. We not only guarantee safer and fairer working conditions for them, but we can now be confident that such tragedies of exclusion will never again be repeated. And so, I'm proud to welcome all of you, the delegates of the International Social Security Association, ISA, and the participants of the World Social Security Forum, to our beautiful Malaysia. At a time when Social Security is undergoing historic breakthrough and expansion here at home, we are moving faster than ever, striving not only to cover every worker in this country, but also to provide each one of them with a more comprehensive protection. We are deeply grateful for all the exchanges, guidance, and insights from ISA Global Fraternity. I'm confident that your deliberations in the next few days will contribute to the continued advancements of social security across the world. And while you are here, I invite you to experience the warmth of Malaysian friendship, the richness of our delicacies, and the beauty of our land. May your stay here with us be as memorable as it is meaningful. Thank you. Terima kasih.
Thank you, Yang Berhormat Menteri Sim Ji Kyong, Minister of Human Resources Malaysia. With that most valuable and inspiring address, the Minister's words have certainly provided us with great insight and encouragement as we continue our collective efforts to strengthen human capital development and advance social protection. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, before we move forward to the moment we've been waiting for, the official opening ceremony, we'd like to direct your attention to the screen as we take you through a very specially curated video on shaping social security for a world in transition.
The world is in transition. Populations age. Technology accelerates. Migration reshapes societies. Climate change challenges survival itself. Yet, amidst progress, new risks emerge. Millions remain vulnerable. In this defining moment, the guardians of social security converge. 330 institutions from more than 160 nations. A global community united by purpose, gathered in Kuala Lumpur, here in the heart of Malaysia, a land of vibrant cultures, unity in diversity, and boundless energy. Kuala Lumpur becomes the world's capital of social security, where tradition meets innovation, and the promise of protection embraces the globe. But challenges remain. The gig worker, the migrant, the elderly, the informal sector. Too many still walk around unprotected, without dignity, without security. This is the pressing call of our time, to extend the hand of social protection to all. The World Social Security Forum is not just a gathering. It is the world's premier platform for solutions, where innovation meets solidarity, where policy becomes action, where nations together secure the future. This triennium is more than a gathering. It is a defining moment in history. Here in Kuala Lumpur, the world comes together. Nations, institutions, leaders, united in purpose. To confront transition, to protect humanity, to ensure that no one anywhere is left behind.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the Prime Minister of Malaysia has been at the forefront of driving Malaysia's vision for sustainable growth, inclusive development, and strengthening our nation's role within the global community. His leadership and commitment continues to inspire efforts towards building resilience, advancing social protection, and fostering international cooperation. We're deeply honored by the presence of Yang Maha Berhormat with us today, signifying the importance of this forum in advancing meaningful dialogue and collaboration. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, on that note, please join me in welcoming Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Seri Anwar bin Ibrahim, Prime Minister of Malaysia, to kindly deliver the officiating speech.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera. TPM Datuk Seri Zahid Hamidi, Menteri Stephen Sim, Timah Menteri, rakan Menteri yang hadir, Dr. Muhammad Azman dan rakan-rakan saya muliakan. Sekali lagi, Kementerian Kesuma dan KSO dapat menganjur satu sidang yang sangat penting, mengumpulkan tenaga yang punya keprihatinan terhadap permasalahan masyarakat di bawah perlindungan sosial. Dan saya percaya ini akan memberikan sambutan serta usul untuk kita perbaiki langkah-langkah yang sedia diambil dan mungkin ditingkatkan untuk mengurangkan tekanan dan beban. Seperti mana kita tahu, kita melonjak ke alam dan dunia digital, pertumbuhan yang lebih segar, teknologi baru. Tetapi kejayaan kita tidak harus ditandai dengan mercu kemegahan bangunan, tetapi juga keselesaan kepada masyarakat. Dan inilah yang menjadi teras dalam negara madani. Ministers, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, of course, it's a rare honor and pleasure to welcome you to this forum. We are indeed grateful for your presence and support and proud to have delegates from across the world gathered in our largest metropolis. We are proud, of course, of this city. We are keen to show how far we have come in the last decades. Return home with souvenirs, including that bear, the image of our Twin Towers. But I would like you to know that on the way to this stage, within living memory, whole communities, as alluded to by Minister Sept, lived in utter destitution. I remember vividly, over 50 years ago, in 1974, I was a young student leader in the rural town of Bali, in North Malaysia. I stood with farmers who could barely feed their families. They were protesting hunger and rising prices. Supporting them led to my detention under ISA, not ISSA. There was the Internal Security Act. Otherwise, Dr. Azman would be in trouble. Well, 2 years detention without trial because of our passion to assist and champion the cause of the poor and the destitute. I saw how poverty strips away opportunity. I saw how injustice had the potential to leave scars that would last generations. And I learned that solidarity and the struggle for justice can restore dignity and hope. Those early experiences, shared by many of us, must shape our conviction that a society is measured not only by its skyline, but how it protects the most vulnerable. The idea of social security was not born in time of plenty, but in the cauldron of hardship. It grew out of the last century when societies battered by exploitation, depression, war, and came to a simple conclusion that no nation can thrive if its workers and families are left to fend for themselves. After the Second World War, that conviction was enshrined in international instruments such as the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The world affirmed that labor is not a commodity and that social security is a right. For decades, this belief reshaped countries across continents. It inspired welfare states in Europe, underpinned stability in Asia, and gave millions in the developing world a chance at dignity after centuries or decades of exploitation, parlons, under colonization, imperialism. But the systems built for the 20th century are under severe strain. They assume steady jobs, predictable lifespans, and gradual change. Those assumptions do no longer hold. As in famous T.S. Eliot's dictum, between the ideals and the realities lies the shadow. work today defies need categories. Industries rise and fall in a matter of years. Populations age faster than pension systems can adapt. Climate change uproots families and redraws entire coastlines. But we know that the ongoing uprooting of families in Gaza, carried out at an entirely different scale, is not caused by climate change, but the actions of a Zionist state which respects no international law and consistently violates humanitarian principles. This genocide, perpetrated by Israel against the Palestinian people, warrants unequivocal condemnation and is no mere political soundbite. It illuminates the grave violations of human rights that impact the fabric of social security worldwide, undermining the inalienable rights of people to safety, dignity, and access to essential services. As we address social security on a global scale, we must have the courage to confront these systemic injustices, as silence on such atrocities renders any discussion of social security hollow and inadequate. I certainly have to reiterate this point, because we are dealing with social security. We're talking about human dignity, gross injustice, and perpetration of atrocities against innocent civilians, women, and children. So in this regard, the courageous actions of individuals participating in the flotilla to Gaza signify a powerful stand against oppression and the overwhelming solidarity with the people of Gaza. The involvement of international activists, including 34 from Malaysia, underscores the importance of collective global responsibility in challenging state-sponsored violence and terrorism and advocating for the rights of the Palestinian people. Now, our consistent condemnation of Zionist occupation and settler colonialism of Palestine is a testament to our commitment to justice. It transcends national boundaries. Most of our countries and those participants here have experienced colonization, experienced the indignity and gross exploitation and dehumanization under foreign rule. So it should not be something obscure and tough to comprehend. An effective discourse on world social security must therefore recognize and integrate these realities. What we need now is a new vision, one that reflects today's realities and prepares us for the challenges still ahead. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, in Malaysia we have sought to frame this renewal through the concept of Malaysia Madani. It talks about sustainability, inclusivity, and compassion towards every single man, woman, and child. These are not new inventions. They are enduring truth. And in a turbulent age, they seem to be more relevant than ever. And these values connect directly to the purpose of social security. Sustainability means protecting future generations, not only ourselves. Prosperity means opportunity that is shared, not hoarded. Innovation means recognizing new forms of work and ensuring they are not left exposed. respect and trust are shown when institutions are reliable and well governed. Compassion, ihsan, is felt when no one is abandoned in their time of need. At its heart, social protection is not a bureaucratic system of benefits. It is a moral infrastructure. Earlier civilizations understood this. In the Islamic tradition, for example, the Baitul Mal ensured that wealth served the poor, the widow, the orphan, and the elderly. The legacy of justice and solidarity continues to inspire us. Guided by these principles, Malaysia is reshaping its own social protection. We're extending security to those who have long stood outside the net. The informal worker, the homemaker, the gig rider who delivers to our doors but enjoys little security in return. And I must commend Minister Sept and his ministry for this commitment and continued harassment in the cabinet to ensure that we pass these laws. Thank you. We are presently preparing for an aging society. By 2030, 1 in 7 Malaysians will be over the age of 60. This will change the shape of our society in profound ways. We must be ready for it. Older citizens carry wisdom and skill. Our task is to provide care when it is needed, but also to enable continued contribution so that aging is seen as a stage of dignity and possibility. We are also moving to strengthen our legal framework. For example, the government will soon introduce the non-employment injury scheme to ensure workers are protected not only during office hours but beyond them. This stems from a realization that the pressures of work do not stop at the factory gate or the office door. In an age of flexible and remote arrangements, this reform will align protection with the realities of how people work and live today. And crucially, it will extend coverage around the clock, recognizing the accidents and injuries do not keep to a timetable. At the same time, we are embedding digital systems so that protection can be delivered more effectively. And no community, however remote, is left unseen. Progress is ongoing, though far from perfect, but the conviction that guides us is clear. True prosperity is not measured by the size of our skyscrapers or GDP, but by the dignity of ordinary citizens, how they live their daily lives. No country can face these challenges alone. In all humility, we acknowledge them. Therefore, the collaboration with experts, with friends, with same desire, commitment is essential. Because the pressures of our time, climate change, technological disruption, migration, displacement, know no borders. If capital can cross continents in search of profit, then a measure of solidarity too must cross borders in the name of justice. We must begin to see social security as part of a global ecosystem. That ecosystem can take many forms: stronger financing for protection laws, global funds created for health and climate, fairer taxation across borders, and the sharing of expertise and technology so that no country is left behind. A world fractured by inequality cannot endure. Neither a country, nor a region, nor the global community. can endure such gross inequality, particularly due to an oppressive system that do not recognize the dignity of our workers. I believe that this forum is an integral part of that work. It's an opportunity to reaffirm justice and solidarity as the foundations of stability. And so, with the words, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, I hereby officiate the World Social Security Forum 2025. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Thank you, Yang Mahormat Seri. We'd like to invite you, sir, to kindly remain on stage as we invite all our dignitaries in the front row to kindly join Yang Mahormat on stage for the officiating ceremony. This is a very special moment in time. As a symbolic gesture to mark the official launch, we'll be inviting Yang Mahormat Prime Minister to strike the gong 3 times, with each gong strike representing a call for unity, collaboration, and commitment. Yang Mahormat Seri, we would like to invite you to kindly do the honors. Let's present Yang Mahormat Seri with the symbolic strike of the gong. There's only one way to do it, sir. Let's do this together as we count down from 3, 2, 1.
This is the triennium of transformation. This is social security for a world in transition. This is social security for a world in transition.
Thank you, Yang Mahormat Seri Anwar bin Ibrahim, for officially declaring open the World Social Security Forum 2025.